Hi there, and welcome to another short video. And today we're going to look at constipation, what it is and how to deal with it. And of course, I must start with a cheesy joke. It is a pain in the butt. But anyway, here we go, constipation. Firstly, I always like to start with some definitions. So what is constipation? Well, the technical and medical and clinical description of constipation is as follows. You have fewer than 3 bowel movements a week. That can be deemed as constipation. Stools are hard, dry, or lumpy. Stools are difficult or painful to pass, or you have a feeling that not all stool has passed. So there's your definitions. Some people might think that they have a different issue. For instance, I know one long-time carnivore who only goes to the toilet about once a week, but that's normal for them. So that is one of the things that you do need to be aware of. Sometimes the condition can be normal for you, but that's in general what constipation is defined as. So the colon, which is often also called the large intestine, the colon's primary job is to form the 1.5 quarts of fluid, that is food you've ingested mixed with digestive juices, into a firm stool for passage out of the body. So let's go through the process now in a little bit more detail. So you eat something, you have some mechanical digestion here, goes down the esophagus, ends up in the stomach, which is highly acidic, and that breaks down your food. The gallbladder here produces bile, and then the stomach will secrete the food into the small intestine, where it's joined by pancreatic juices, digestive juices, and like I say, the bile. And let's just zoom in on the digestive tract here. So we're now in the small intestine with the food. It goes through the small intestine, and then eventually all the nutrients from the food you've ingested have been absorbed, and what you're left with is waste. And that waste product will leave the small intestine and enter the colon. Okay, so this bit is the ascending colon. This is the transverse colon. This is the descending colon, and this is the rectum and the anus. So this is where the stool is going to go. It's going to go up the ascending colon, and this is where you get exchange of fluids and salts. And what's happening here is the fluid essentially are being reabsorbed back into the body, and eventually your stool is hardened as it goes down and then out. Okay, so you have a thing called peristalsis, which is the contraction of these muscles in the colon, and that squeezes the food along and down it goes. And you will have 4, maybe 3 major peristalsis movements a day, moving this food along here like this. So just to summarize that, the colon must reabsorb water and electrolytes to form a stool. And this is why when you are dehydrated, you can get constipated and your stool may become hard and difficult to pass. It's really that simple. So the final stages of food digestion take place in the large intestine, which is also called the colon. Remember, all the nutrients have been extracted, and what you are now talking about is waste. And that waste is mixed with water and enters that ascending colon. The stool is now in the colon, and it travels up, loses water and salts. So as long as you understand the process, should make trying to resolve any issues a lot easier. Like I say, the average transit time is 2.4 days for females and 1.9 for males. It does seem that males go to the toilet more than females. So in essence, you can get constipation if too much water is removed from the stool or peristalsis is slowed down. The longer the stool stays in the colon, the more water is taken from it. So this is why we want some movement in the colon. Some people find that simply moving it around can help with the symptoms of constipation. So just taking more walks, for instance. I've noticed that Rupert, the raw carnivore dog, which hopefully you've seen in some of my videos, he poops a lot more when he's running around. In fact, when we take him anywhere in the car, the first thing he does is has a run round, and then he needs to poop. So there are some other causes, stress, and there are some medical conditions which may cause constipation. So it isn't something to be taken lightly. And if you feel that constipation is particularly bad, nothing seems to be resolving it, then I do recommend a trip to the healthcare professional. I personally don't see constipation in many of my coaching clients, but it does come up from time to time, and simply increasing the salt can sometimes resolve issues. So do remember, when you're eating this way, you're not making as much poop as when you ate in an unhealthy way, because everything you're ingesting is more nutrient dense, so your body can use what you're eating. So you may simply not have constipation. You may simply be not pooping as much. So animal products, it's often said or speculated that it rots in your colon. Meat rots in your colon. There's no proof to this. There's no science behind this. It does not ferment in the colon. All animal products get digested in the small intestine. And this is borne out by real world examples. For instance, nurses who work with patients have ostomy bags. That is a bag that is attached to the colon, just at the entry from the small intestine. They have to clear these bags out for people, and they never see meat. They never see chicken legs or pork chops or steaks, but they often report seeing mostly vegetable material, plant matter, and corn is very commonly seen there. When we're talking about electrolytes, low magnesium can be a problem. It is sort of endemic in some populations that there seems to be a magnesium deficiency. So you can add magnesium citrate, and this is known to stimulate the bowels. Or if you don't like the dramatic effect that magnesium citrate can have, you can look at magnesium glycinate, which is much less dramatic. And this would be taken at bedtime, especially if you have trouble sleeping or you suffer with muscle cramps. So this would kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. Then you can look at fiber. There's no real science behind fiber being good for this condition either. So when you think about fiber, it's indigestible. So it's going to transmit through you. It's going to go all the way through your body, through the small intestine. And the only thing that can happen to it is it's going to be acted upon by bacteria in the colon. This produces gas, bloating, and constipation. So Dr. Paul Mason is a doctor I absolutely recommend if you're particularly interested in fiber. He's brilliant. Well, actually, he's brilliant in most areas. But this is an area that he has spent a lot of time on. And this is what he has to say about his research into fiber. He's only found one experimental study that looked at symptoms of constipation between low and high fiber diets. His practice was looking at idiopathic constipation, by the way. Anyway, the high fiber group, there was a medium fiber group, a low fiber group, and a zero fiber group in the study. And only the zero fiber group had complete resolution of all symptoms such as bleeding, bloating, and strain opening the bowels. Interestingly, the frequency of this group became about one bowel action per day. All the high fiber, medium, and low fiber groups actually had worse outcomes, and their frequency was not as regular. Another thing to think about is that the big claim for fiber is it adds bulk. So adding bulk, is this a really good thing to think about? Because what is constipation? Well, constipation is having trouble pushing your waste or something through this small hole at the end of your body. So do you want to have a bulkier thing that's more difficult to push through a small hole? I don't think that makes any sense either. But there are proponents of fiber that say it's essential to have short-chain fatty acid production in the colon from fiber. But what happens to those short-chain fatty acids? Well, all that happens is they go on to make ketones, and we can make this ketone production from other areas. And also, you don't just get the butyrate from fiber, you can get it from isobutyrate from protein. So I'll put an illustration up about that particular mechanism for you to have a look at. And finally, medications can cause constipation. Obviously, we're not recommending you stop these, but it is worth you looking at the insert in your medications. And if you're having problems with constipation that are just not going away, it could be something to talk to your doctor about. Is it possible that one of the medications is causing the constipation problems? And the list is pretty extensive. Some antihistamines, most brands can cause constipation. Antacids containing aluminium or calcium. Opioid pain meds, most of those seem to have that constipation as a side effect. Blood pressure medications, diuretics, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, There's antidepressants, urinary incontinence meds, and non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs as well. So all of those have the possibility of causing the side effect of constipation. Certainly worth a trip to your healthcare professional. So in summary, let's go through what we need to consider when we're talking about constipation. Well, eating this way, carnivore, ketovore, keto, and even low carb for some people, the food you're eating now is much more useful to the body, the essential amino acids, the essential fatty acids. So there is going to be a lot less waste, and that means a lot less poop. Some people have magnesium deficiency, which can be from historic dysfunctional eating. So you can look at magnesium citrate, that gets the thunder rolling and encourages and stimulates the bowel movement, whereas you can look at magnesium glycinate, which can help with the motility of the bowel without so much as a dramatic effect. Sometimes just a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon of salt in a small glass of water can get things moving. And those people that have ostomy bags, like colon cancer patients, GI issue patients, meat is never seen there undigested, but you often see plant material. So hopefully that's been helpful for you. Please do like this video if you found it interesting. Comment definitely if you've had constipation and you found a way to resolve those issues. And if you could subscribe, then you won't miss any of my videos. It does definitely help the channel to do those things. I can get more videos out of this nature and concentrate on getting more and more information out to you. So do like, share, and subscribe if that's possible. And thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you on the next video. Just in case you do resolve your constipation and you go the other way and end up with diarrhea, I have done a video just on diarrhea because it can be a trial and error situation here, and you finally get the balance correct and then everything resolves itself. I did mention I was going to talk about fiber, and I was going to put an illustration up. Here it is, just for people that are interested. Here's an epithelial cell. And most people think that in the gut lumen, you have to have dietary fiber because that can be converted to butyrate. And then it goes through this particular cycle. You end up making energy in the TCA cycle. Or circulating ketones from the liver can go into this cycle from the blood side rather than the gut lumen, and just pick up the cycle here. So you do not need fiber to make this cycle work. In fact, you can shortcut it by increasing circulating ketones, like I say, from the liver, from what you're eating, and they can go into this cycle and make that energy. Thank you for watching.